industry is needing education. But we also talk often about how much training there's available in the industry. The mortgage industry is very intentional about providing really good, thorough training. Access Lending Academy looks at education. Tell us a little bit about where you draw the line between education and training.
Yep. So training is great.
Yes.
It's great when you walk into a company and you want to do a function and you need to be trained on that function. It's very situational to that function, whatever that function happens to be. That's not the purpose in Access Lending Academy. We're there for the long run. We want to educate our learners on a new career in a new industry. We want them to really understand what the mortgage lending industry is about. We want them to understand how to grow in a professional environment, what it means to interact with other professionals that have been in the industry for 20 plus years. So to me, the line was drawn when we sat down and we realized how impactful can we be in the industry. That impactfulness, if that's a word, really is driven by education as opposed to training, because we don't stop with understanding what does TRID mean. We don't stop with understanding what is a closing disclosure. We don't stop with understanding what does funding mean. We're continuing it. In fact, we're continuing it to the point where when our learners go into when they're towards the end of the program, they're in an internship, they also jump in and get involved in our wellness programs. They go to wisdom coaching with our entire team. They do workouts with our entire team. You know, they learn how to rely on and practice meditation. So it's part of that educational function that's going to help these individuals level up, create a career in otherwise an opportunity that would not be provided to them. So if it's so big that we're saying it's not an opportunity that would ever be provided to them, we've got to educate them on it. We can't just train them on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. What I love about the power of education is that it's an experience, right? We all remember being with our favorite teacher. We all remember, I think of my girls, they remember their kindergarten teacher. She was incredible, and it provided such a safe environment and such a wonderful experience for them to learn their little ABCs and learn how to read and sing songs. It was an experience. I remember learning how to drive and who taught me how to drive. I remember learning business principles, being educated on that, and that was all about the experience. So when you're talking about Access Lending Academy and our learners, they're participating in this education program and they're experiencing something, and they're taking that experience to their families and their communities.
We're driving for diversity, equity, and inclusion in our industry as a whole, not just in the workforce, not just in the workplace, but owners of housing, people that own homes, people that want that American dream, and that supports communities and community development. So imagine, if you will, I feel like Sophia on the Golden Girls, these team members are learning what it means about mortgages. They're learning what it means to get a mortgage. They're rolling their sleeves up, and they're starting to really understand what is DTI, debt to income ratio, what is a FICO score, how do you get a good one? And they start to embrace that.
Yes.
And so then what's going to happen is they're going to be around at a barbecue or a dinner table, and they're going to talk about their new education. They're going to talk about their new internship. They're going to talk about their new job placement at amazing companies like PRNG or West Coast Mortgage Group once they get placed at a company. And so those words and that excitement from them is going to drive excitement in their homes from their parents or their kids or their grandparents or their neighbors. And so that in itself will drive awareness on home ownership.
Yeah.
And so this really starts to be something that we can look at as not only supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workforce, but also in the communities. Because once that gets out, people are going to start to get excited about that passion and understanding of ownership. Does that make sense?
Totally.
It's kind of like a three-dimensional approach.